Hello, BookTube. I thought we'd start the week off with some mail, including a couple of boxes. Uh, in uh, my curiosity to see if I'm going to get any more 2024 mail. Let's take a look at the books that we have. I wouldn't be surprised if all of this is 2025. Okay, this first one is 2025. This comes out in April. This is by Natalie Lawrence, and it is called Enchanted Creatures, Our Monsters and Their Meaning. From ancient mythology to modern science fiction, we have had to confront the monsters that lurk in the depths of our collective imagination. They embody our anxieties and our irrational terrors, giving form to what we don't wish to know or understand. And this book delves into 15,000 years of imaginary beasts and uncovers the otherworldly natural history that has evolved with our deepest fears and fascinations. Join the author on a tour of prehistoric cave monsters, serpentine hybrids, deep-sea leviathans, and fire-breathing kaiju. Discover how these monstrous menageries shaped our minds, our societies, and how we see our place in nature. Okay, my natural worry is that this is going to be 21st century science denial. All right. The chapter titles are poetic. They don't actually tell me what each chapter is about. Who is the author? A writer, illustrator, and researcher with a degree in natural sciences and a PhD in history and philosophy of science from Cambridge University. Okay. Well, this doesn't come out until the spring, so those of you who are interested in this sort of thing, I am. This comes out on the date here on the sheet is April Fool's Day. I really like this kind of book. I just don't like in the 21st century getting books like this about magical creatures or about magic itself, in which the author is saying that I don't want to disrespect anyone by saying that these things aren't real. Fantasy monsters aren't real. So we'll see. I find it hard to believe that with that kind of credential the author would do that. So but that is next year. So let's see if we're going to keep that up. Okay, yeah, this is next year. This is the hardcover to DarkBrilliance by Paul Strathern, which we've seen a couple of times on this channel. This is the finished copy, 400 pages, $35, coming out in early January. A sweeping history of the Age of Reason, revealing how, although it was a time of great progress, it was also an era of brutality and intolerance. And again, I have the same worry here, that the criticisms of the Age of Reason here are going to end up being criticisms of reason. Not the period, but just maybe we shouldn't experiment or duplicate or teach these things. But I'm with this author, again, I'm almost certainly wrong. So all the great advances in science and philosophy and political theory and economics was accomplished against a backdrop of extreme political turbulence on a continental scale, in the form of internal conflicts and international wars. So this is coming out right at the beginning of the new year. And again, my hackles, my worry is almost certainly unfounded. I'm worried that this study of magical creatures is going to say we really should cover both sides of whether or not these things exist. And I'm worried that this is going to be both sides saying whether or not we had any kind of a need for the Age of Reason or the Enlightenment, or whether or not those things did any good. But I doubt that those will even be present in the book, much less the source of them. Let's see what this first one is here. Oh. Okay, what is this? All right, there's no sheet on this, no date on this, no information on this really of any kind. This is a new series from Reaction Books, I guess. It's by Bartholomew Ryan. The series, I guess, is called Critical Lives, and this one is Fernando Pessoa. Short thing. What have we got here? As a young man, Pessoa wrote Be Plural, Like the Universe, and boy oh boy did he live that. Cannot recommend strongly enough the gigantic biography of him from a couple of years ago. What a reading experience that was. Staying true to this, he went on to invent more than 100 fictional alter egos, which he called heteronyms. This biography, probing Pessoa's experience and imagination of reality, navigates the poet's early days, reveals a philosopher, poet, and pioneer of Portuguese modernism, and delves into the birth of his heteronymic universe. Okay, great. So it's a thickly bound book that has illustrations all throughout, instead of in one section in the middle. But what is Critical Lives? Oh, goodness gracious! All right, we have certainly seen these then, because there's been a lot of them with that. I wonder if there's any point in the book that will explain what the series is. But happy to have this, absolutely. I wish that I still had that Zenith biography of Pessoa. I wish I still did. I don't know why I got rid of it. I'm assuming that I mailed it to one of you. And of course, I never see it out in the wild. And well, ideally, what I would like, of course, is the UK trade paperback of it. But this next package is very similar. I wonder if this will be another entry in the Critical Lives series. Oh, no. Okay. Boy, again, no sheet for this thing, so no way to know when it's coming out. Oh, boy. Okay. This is by Jonathan Elmer, and is called Inose Wake, Travels in the Graphic and the Atmospheric. And the book really does mean that, because the photo insets here include excerpts from horror comics. So I imagine just the long horror after effect of Edgar Allan Poe. You'll find his face everywhere, from coffee mugs, bobbleheads, and T-shirts, to the cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Edgar Allan Poe is one of American culture's most recognizable literary figures, his life and works inspiring countless derivations beyond the literary realm: illustration and kitsch, art installations, films, radio plays, children's cartoons, and video games. What makes Poe so hugely influential in media other than his own? Why do filmmakers, composers, and other artists find in Poe, what do they find in him that suits their purposes so often and so variously? Okay, so this thing is less a biography and more literary after effects. Fascinating. Just fascinating. No idea of the dates for either one of these things. I'm assuming they are both in the new year. And then we have the boxes. 2 boxes. The first one of which is fairly heavy. So again, as with the last 3 or 4 boxes that I've got like this, I know what I want this to be. Just take a look and see. There's something I'm expecting that I... oh, no. Okay, all right. This is not the thing I was expecting, but great. Glad to have it. Oh, this is lovely. I've mentioned this before on this channel. This is the finished copy of John Ma's book, Polis, History of the Greek City-State. Great big thing from Princeton University Press. I don't have a sheet for it, but we can read the dust jacket. This is going to be, well, it's a university press, so they're not going to put a price on it, but it's going to be expensive, probably $40. The Greek polis, or city-state, was a resilient and adaptable political institution founded on the principles of citizenship, freedom, and equality. For landowning men. Emerging around 650 BCE, that's BC, before Christ, and enduring to 350 CE, that's AD 350, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. It offered a means for collaboration among fellow city-states and social bargaining between a community and its elites, but at what cost? This book proposes a panoramic account of the ancient Greek city-state, its diverse forms and enduring characteristics over the span of a millennium. Wow. And this is 700 pages long. In this landmark book, the author provides a new history of the polis, charting its spread and development into a common denominator for hundreds of communities from the Black Sea to North Africa, from the Near East to Italy. Great. Fantastic. I'm pretty sure this is out already. I think this is late getting to me, but I'm very happy to have it. I will put it on the pile for tonight. And then we have the second and final box here, which is packaged up to a fairly well. Let's see if we can do this without the end of the world. Yep, there we go. Okay. Oh, it's 2 books. This one is 2 books. Oh, okay. All right. We end with epic fantasy. So, oh boy. Book publicists are just the best. They're just the best. So these are both by Scott Drakeford. This is the first one, The Rise of the Mages, which we've already seen on this channel. I believe we saw this when? Last year? 2021. I'm pretty sure this has shown up on this channel before, though. And then the finished copy of the new book in the series, these are the Age of Ire novels, The Fate of Silent Gods. So these are smaller hardcovers, handy-sized hardcovers that are going to be $30 a piece. So the publicist contacted me about this one, and I didn't clearly enough remember this one and looked and didn't have it, so she sent me both. So let's see, the dust jacket for the first one. Emrail Ire wants nothing more than to test to be a weapon master. His final exam will be a bloody insurrection staged by corrupt nobles and priests that enslaves his brother. With the aid of his master of war tutor, herself an undercover mage, he discovers his own latent and powerful talents. To rescue his brother, he must embrace not only his abilities as a warrior, but also his place as the last ancient mage kings. For the fallen god has returned, and he is hungry. So that's Rise of the Mages. And then we have The Fate of Silent Gods. So is that years between books? So let's see here. Emrail Ire saved his brother and thwarted the fallen god once, but in so doing has put himself and his followers in peril. Their daring rescue has ignited a war with the United Provinces and their sinister Malathi allies. Facing vastly superior numbers, he launches a bold military offensive, striking at the heart of the provinces. If his people are to avoid annihilation, they must first liberate his ancestral homeland of Area and convince the people to fight at his side. But his true battle is against the fallen god himself. How does one fight a god with seemingly limitless power, and what do you do when the god of your enemies calls you his son? Okay, so Scott Drakeford is the author of the Age of Ire series. He's also the co-host of the Hugo Award-winning podcast Publishing Rodeo. He is a former mechanical engineer and tech person turned full-time trophy husband, father, and writer. He currently lives in the Pacific Northwest with his wife and their tenacious children and 2 dogs. And he himself is very young. I suppose that's fitting for a trophy husband. The Rise of the Mages has a ton of blurbs on the back of the new book. Okay. All right. And one of those blurbs on both books is by Brian Lee Durfee, booktuber Brian Lee Durfee. Okay, so that is the mail. Quite a good bit here. Depending on whether or not Paulus comes out this year, I got quite a bit here that is this year. But we have Paulus. That's the Steve book for the pile this time around. Is something I really want to dig into. We have DarkBrilliance, New History of the Beginning of the Age of Reason. In Poe's Wake, about Poe's long shadow on the horror genre. The Age of Ire. 2 books so far in the Age of Ire. I don't want to block Frida there. We have Critical Lives, the new Critical Lives on Fernando Pessoa. I guess really sort of a kick in the behind that I should find a copy of that biography and have it. I've missed it and that's a sure way to know that it should have stayed here. And Enchanted Creatures coming out in the spring. So there you go. That is a nice bit of mail to start the week. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.